there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts, UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today's project is this one, and I have to say I got it almost exactly as this, straight off Pinterest. Pinterest is wonderful for inspiration, and I wanted something quick and easy, and I wanted something that used the bike ride stamp set. Because this is the stamp set that we were all given in Amsterdam last year when we went to Onstage in April 2017, and that was the live Onstage was in Europe. It was held in Amsterdam, and it was an amazing experience. And as I say, one of the stamp sets we were given was this one, and as we're about to go off to Onstage again later this week, in fact it's probably about now when you're watching this, I thought I would remind myself of the stamps, one of the stamp sets we got last year. Now, this, as I say, came from Pinterest. It's very close to the original, and the original was designed by a lady called Fiona Bradley, who is a demonstrator in Australia. And she did the stamping almost exactly the same as this. Her card base was slightly different, but it was the craft stamp ink on basic grey. Her hearts, she used, I think it was probably a retired die for those, but you could use the heart from the cookie cutter punch. If I get the light, there we are. There's this little heart here. Now I've used enamel shapes, but you could, if you've got patience and lots of scraps, use this little heart here. This is current in the annual catalogue that is going through to the end of May, so that is still available if you wanted to use card instead of enamel shapes. The enamel shapes I've used, I like odd numbers as we know, so I've used 9 of the Brights collection, so it is only one collection of enamel shapes, so it's not quite as extravagant as it might look. So I'm going to do something the same but different. So let's get started. It's, as I say, it's really quite a quick card to put together. I'm going to change out the basic grey that I had on this card for Melon Mambo, because I've actually done Melon Mambo stamping on the inside, and I think dark grey and bright pink is quite a nice combination. It gives that pop, so I thought I'd try it with that as well. So I need a scrap of paper, and I thought I had one on my desk. How wrong can a girl be? I think I did have one on my desk, it's just I buried it, which is one of those things that happens. So, basic grey matte. The dimensions will be on my blog post, which is linked immediately below, and it'll be the blog post for this post, for this video. I don't do any of this, you know, go and find the one that was posted on whatever date. I try to make it easy for you. So now I have already mounted up the wheel, the chassis, and the basket. And all I'm going to do is going to start with the wheel, because it's good to know where you're aiming for. So all I'm doing now, the craft ink pad now comes uninked, and you get it with a bottle of the re-inker. So all you do is, and I tend to just do the middle bit, is just put some re-inker on the middle of your uninked stamp or ink pad, and then you're good to go. And then if, as you need more, just re-ink. This ink does tend to need to be reasonably juicy, but you'll know whether it's okay or not. And there we are. I'll put that to one side for the moment, and then I'm going to ink up the chassis, which is stained, but it's clean dirt, not dirty dirt. And then you want the chain guard to be reasonably horizontal and the pedal to be reasonably horizontal, otherwise it's a very odd bike. But you also want the chassis to not be touching the wheel, because otherwise the wheel won't go round. So press that down, that's good. And then finally the little basket. Now there are 2 stamps for the basket, and I'm using the one that is more open. So if we look on the stamp set. You've got the more open one, which is the one that I'm using, and then the one that is the infill, if you like, because it's a two-step stamp. But I want the one that's the outline rather than the infill, so it's the linear one. And this I'm just going to pop down so it's not touching the wheel but is touching the chassis, because otherwise it's just floating in midair, and that kind of doesn't work. So there we are. Now, I am not one to advocate using wet wipes for cleaning your stamps, except when you are using the craft ink, because you do not want to put craft ink all over your stamping scrub, because it will just make it mucky. So a wet wipe, so take off the excess ink with a wet wipe, and then what I would do is clean this on my stamping scrub. And the reason for that is that wet wipes, A, generally have alcohol in them, even if they are so-called sensitive. But anything that has a thol at the end of it is an alcohol. And also they can tend to put fibres on your stamps. So it's great for getting the white ink off, but do then clean them properly on your scrub. Because, yeah, it's just better for them. So that's our basic stamping for that. I'm going to do the inside of my card now. This ink does need a little bit of time to dry. It's a pigment ink rather than a dye ink, and most of our inks are dye inks. And it's because it's a pigment ink that you can see it on the grey. I've taken the sentiment, because the bike ride doesn't have sentiments, from Lovely Friends. Now, the images are shown at 75% size, so I've mounted this up. This, Good Friends Are Hard to Find, this is that stamp. So if I line that up, that's where it finishes on the packet, but obviously it is significantly larger. So yeah, there's some lovely sentiments. So you've got love, yes you, oh so happy, I just love you so much, oh so lucky, and you are one of the best. I'm honestly very blessed. I'm lucky I found you. You make me ridiculously happy. Good friends are hard to find. So it would be good friends are hard to find, and you are one of the best. And I'm using I just love you so much, because that made sense with all the hearts coming out of my bicycle. Just pop that in the middle of my card, and there we are. And this is Melon Mambo ink, so it matches the cardstock. That's the word I'm looking for. So that's that done. All I need to do now is add my hearts to the front of my card. Now I may not have exactly the same colours. Yes, I've run out of rich raspberry hearts. I think I've got a real red I can use instead, because I do like my odd numbers. So I will start with a Bermuda Bay and a Tangerine Tango, and yes, I am sad. I have written the names on the backs of some of the colours, because I like to know which ones I've got. Pacific Point, might put a bit further up actually. I want something a bit lighter there, so I've used that. So we'll take a Daffodil Delight, because that's a bit lighter, and Pumpkin Pie, and what have we got? Oh, this is my real red. I thought I had a real red left, which is surprising, as red is probably the heart colour that I would use most frequently. Old Olive, Tempting Turquoise, and last but not least, Melon Mambo. So those are the hearts done. Now Fiona had a lot more hearts, but as I say, they were card. I'm trying to work out in my head which die she used. It almost looked like she had hand cut from, do you remember the Falling Love embossing folder? It was that sort of shape. But I'm hoping she didn't hand cut them. because that would have been a while. Put that to one side. Right, I'm using dimensionals because I just want to pop it up a wee bit. I think it just makes it, if you're really only using one mat, I think it just makes it a bit fancier if you pop it up. So that's those. Make sure those are all down, and then take the backings off. And I just bought myself, from the wonderful Swedish store that we seem to have pretty much globally, a little bin to go on my desk. And I have bins under my desk that are blue for recycling and pink for non-recycling. So I've got 2 bins, pink for non-recycling and blue for recycling. So that means I've got somewhere to put the little bits off my desk before they end up on the floor, because I've just brushed them on the floor and then have to pick them up to put them in the bin. So I'm hoping that that will work better. Right, so that's the outside of the card, and then we just need a bit of adhesive, and I'm using Fast Fuse because it happened to be the one that was nearest, but you could use snail and just, or tear and tape, but probably snail or Fast Fuse would be best. And then there we are. So we've got one with the pink, one with the grey. Let me know which one you prefer. That would be fun. Do you like the pink, the contrast of the pink, or the subtlety of the grey? I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe, please do. I like to have new subscribers. So that would be lovely. Just hit the subscribe button, and then if you want to know when I post a new video, you can have a little notification. There's a little notification bell, and you'll get a notification within YouTube that I have posted. If you need any products, do hop over to my online store. There's a link below. So you've got the link to this post, which will have the dimensions and all that good stuff. And then below that, there's all my social media, which includes a link to my online store. So if you need any of the products, do pop over there. Do remember that we're beginning to get to that point where if you like the soon to retire in colours, which are the 2016-2018, Emerald Envy, Dapper Denim, Peekaboo Peach, Flirty Flamingo and Sweet Sugar Plum, they will definitely go from the annual catalogue when it comes out in June. I say definitely, 99.99999% definite that they would go. The only reason that they wouldn't would be if there was a colour refresh and one of them was kept on for some reason. So if you want any of the in colours, be that ribbon, be that cardstock, be that ink or re-inkers or markers, and remember the re-inker works for both the ink pads and the markers, get them now before everybody else does. So do pop over to my online store and get those sorted out, and I will look forward to seeing you very soon. Let me know if you've got any questions or comments, and I will get back to you when I have a few moments. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye!